a film depicting the story of a teenage girl named Susie Salmon, who is enjoying her hobby of photography after being given a camera by her parents as a birthday gift. She is very excited to capture everything around her. Susie remembers when she went with her father to the landfill and met a girl named Ruth. Although once considered strange by her friends, Susie realizes that Ruth has the ability to see things that others cannot. She also remembers saving her younger brother Buckley's life from a dangerous situation. All of these are Susie's memories before her death. As it turns out, Susie died because of her neighbor, whom she had photographed while her parents were talking to the neighbor. Her neighbor became obsessed with Susie's charming smile, making it difficult for him to sleep that night. Then one night, the idea to create a trap with an underground room in the cornfield crossed his mind. Every day, he tried to realize that plan. Then, Susie asked her parents to develop all the rolls of film she had. Susie's mother was surprised because all the film had been used up, with none left. Susie felt disappointed because the cost of developing the film was quite expensive. Susie's father could only develop one roll of film monthly, leaving Susie disappointed as it would take 2 years to see all of her captured photos, which amounted to 24 rolls. Before going to school, her mother gave Susie a hat she made. At first, Susie didn't like it, but she felt compelled to wear it, especially after being teased by her younger sister, Lindsay. Unbeknownst to her, her neighbor secretly watched her from inside the house. At school, Susie was very happy because the boy she had liked for a long time, Ray, invited her to go out on the weekend. She returned home with a heart full of happiness. On her way home, she passed by a garden and saw her neighbor, Harvey, already there. Harvey, having built a new room, attempted to entice Susie by engaging her in conversation and showing her his creation. Although Susie politely declined, Harvey continued to persuade her that the place was very interesting, and he wanted to show it to others if Susie didn't want to. This naturally piqued Susie's curiosity and prompted her to take a look. As it turned out, the room was underground, built by Harvey as a gathering place for children. Growing more curious, Susie decided to see it for herself. She was so impressed with the place. At home, Susie's family waited, assuming she had gone out with her friends, worrying as she was late returning. Susie began to feel something was amiss. When Harvey stared at her strangely, when she tried to leave, Harvey stopped her. She became increasingly uncomfortable, especially when Harvey continued to praise her beauty and wanted her to stay. Susie immediately fled and kicked Harvey until he fell, then ran as fast as she could. That night, Ruth saw Susie running past her and felt something was off. Susie's parents began to worry when she didn't return home, her father even searching around while carrying a photo of Susie. Susie saw her father and screamed for him, but he couldn't see her. However, her father couldn't see her, and Susie saw her father suddenly vanish before her eyes, leaving emptiness around her. She ran home, where her mother was giving a timeline to the police. Strangely, Susie didn't see anyone there, only hearing her mother's voice.
And she has
Susie could only cry, confused by the situation. She went to the bathroom and found it dirty, filled with mud and blood. In the bathtub, she found Harvey, the man who made her scream, slowly disappearing. Meanwhile, the police searched the garden and found Susie's hat, near a large hole filled with debris and blood. They informed Susie's family that the hat was found there. Susie's parents were shocked and devastated to hear the news. Elsewhere, Harvey burned Susie's belongings and saw the police starting to interrogate people around Susie's house. He hurriedly hid the evidence and pretended not to know anything. When the detectives showed Susie's photo, Harvey saw Susie wearing a bracelet he kept near the miniature and managed to hide the bracelet when he had the chance, realizing that she was in a strange world to her. In the middle of the cornfield, she saw Ray waiting, trying to approach him, but suddenly sank when Harvey threw her bracelet into the abyss. Upon waking up, she found herself in the middle of a forest. Seeing Ray approached by Ruth, handing him a letter she found, Ruth only realized that she was seeing Susie's spirit. Together with Holly, they were in between two worlds. Holly urged her to let go of her life because she had died, but Susie wasn't ready and wanted to go home. Seeing her father, who was depressed, breaking his collectibles, she felt her father's sorrow in the other world. Harvey felt safe because no one suspected him. Her father found Susie's roll of film, printed some photos to see the results, getting clues about who might be her daughter's killer. Her father called the detective, giving some names, but his wife couldn't bear to see her husband falling apart. Lindsay ran with her dog, which suddenly barked in front of Harvey's house. Harvey came out and greeted her. Lindsay felt uneasy about Harvey, especially because her dog kept barking at him. In her world, Susie felt caught between heaven and earth, having the same dream every night, remembering the day she died. She felt her killer kept reminiscing about the incident and wanted to do it again. Her father stayed up all night worrying about Susie, which prevented him from sleeping next to her mother, ultimately leading her mother to decide to leave. Susie saw Lindsay grown up and cried tears of joy. She watched Ray still occasionally thinking of her, but maybe it was time to forget those memories. Harvey collected articles about Lindsay, feeling suspicious and uneasy. He plotted something as he felt continuously watched by Lindsay. There was one roll of film left belonging to Susie that hadn't been developed, and her father saw one person who seemed suspicious, their neighbor, Harvey. Susie's father approached Harvey's house out of curiosity, observing his neglected garden. He picked a dead flower in Harvey's garden, feeling it suddenly revive as if giving a clue. With his intuition, he was convinced that Harvey was his daughter's killer, attempting to force his way into his house. The detective advised against accusing without evidence, but her father remained determined to uncover the truth. He planned to uncover it himself, without police assistance. Susie's father trailed Harvey to the cornfield, unknowingly endangering himself. He was arrested and beaten for allegedly harassing Brian's girlfriend in Harvey's trap. Harvey succeeded in trapping him because he knew Susie's father suspected him. As her father lay dying, Susie felt shattered knowing he would never forget her. Susie realized she had to let go of her father as she looked at the bodies of Harvey's victims. Now she knew that Harvey was a pedophilic murderer who had claimed many lives, including Holly's.
When he dumped her body in the river.
Seeing Harvey staring at the safe, she remembered that tragic incident. It was revealed that she failed to escape from the underground room. Trapped, raped, and murdered by Harvey, her body was placed in the safe. Then, Lindsay saw Harvey leave and entered his house to look for evidence. She found a notebook under the floor, but Harvey returned and became suspicious. The book contained evidence that Harvey had set up a trap for Susie and kept a lock of her hair. Hearing something, Harvey rushed to his room. Lindsay managed to escape with the evidence. At home, Susie's mother had returned. Lindsay wanted to shield her from grief by hiding the evidence. Lindsay made the right decision by giving the book to her grandmother. The police raided Harvey's house, but he had escaped. Harvey headed to the disposal pit to dump Susie's body. Seeing Harvey, Ruth felt uneasy, suspecting the contents of the box he carried. In the afterlife, Susie reunited with Harvey's victims to journey to heaven. However, before departing, Susie wanted to do one more thing. She kissed Ray and bid farewell through Ruth's body. At the same time, Harvey dumped Susie's body into the pit, burying her forever. Susie's family finally accepted her departure and tried to move on with their lives. However, Harvey still hadn't learned. One night, he tried to seduce a woman but was rejected. Suddenly, ice fell from a tree, causing him to slip into a ravine, leading to his tragic death. Finally, Susie's mother entered her daughter's room, and Susie could depart peacefully, wishing happiness for her family. Susie could finally depart in peace, hoping her family would live happily. And the movie comes to an end.